appears to be live. Let's go with channel 1 and channel 2. And let's see when we get a response. I need to switch over to my speakers so I can hear the thing go off. So we're going to wait for that to come up. All right. And like I said, okay, I see a good connection on the first one. And now I'm waiting for number 2 to show up. And once that does, I saw a notification on my phone. That's a good sign, I think. And okay, shut this off. All right, I see the live on that one. Let's check the other one. Where's the other one? Here it is. Oh, there it is. Just popped up. Okay, so looks like we are good to get social stream running. So let's go to live source for channel 1. It is live. We'll activate that. Switch to live and switch to participants and dock that right there. We'll go to number 2, and number 2 appears to be good. We will open that, go to live, dock the window right there, and open the participants list. All right, let's do some testing. Right, so let's, oop, I didn't mean to open that. Hold on, let me just close that program. All right, I usually do Twitch last. I'm gonna do Twitch first. Test 1. Oh, I forgot, I have to hit the thing. I have to go to the actual link and activate, listen for the beep. There it is. All right, now, hold on, because I have to select the window, and that is this. Okay. And now, let's do that again. Test 1. There it is. Okay, let's go to middle window, and this will be test 2. I see it, and let's go to the third window. This will be test 3. And I heard it, and do I see each one? Yes, I do. I can now close this window. I can now close this window. And we should be ready to go. So, oh, wait, I have to make sure that my iPad is reflecting the screen correctly. And now, let's hit that. And we'll see if just over 2 minutes, we're good. Find out in a minute. Should pop out any second here, and we'll know for sure. There we go. Okay. QR code is good. That's running. My sound's working. I've got my participant lists up. So I believe, I'm just checking everything, but incredibly, I think everything's working. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, the meters are running. I can see both of the alerts. Live there, live there. Yeah, it looks like it's all actually working for once. Holy cow. That's a rarity. All right. Wait. Yeah, it's moving. Now, Procreate just updated the app. Actually, how do I get back to... Wait a second. How do I go back to the other... I have to go to the other window. Uh-oh. How do I get back to my... Back to libraries. Got it. Okay, this is mine. For now, they've rearranged some things, and I have to look at it. But for now, I'm going to stick with the brush that I'm used to. All right, the brushes that I'm used to, I should say. But I like the fact that they're now doing some different stuff. That's kind of neat. Okay, so as you can see, I have made some progress on my orange, and yeah. So my new plan, I'm actually going to. Well, let's just get to it. We'll get to the other plan when it makes sense. I don't have it. The plan's not quite there yet. I wanted to talk a little bit on the stream. Not that anybody's here, so nobody's going to hear me say anything. I don't think. Wait, let me check the Twitch side. No, doesn't appear so. That's fine. I was just right. Oh, I don't know about right. About 30 minutes ago or so. I've seen these complaints about a video game that recently was released called Silksong. I guess it's Hollow Knight Silksong. I will admit, I've never played the Hollow Knight game. I'm not going to play Silksong. I have no interest in these games. They're just not my type of games, right? So, I really don't care, which is what makes this kind of astonishing. But this game came out, and at first, everybody was all thrilled about it. The first couple days of this Silksong game coming out, people were losing their minds. They were just so excited for it, right? And almost as quickly as people were excited, I started seeing these stories where people were complaining about it. And interestingly, it was mostly other, I don't know, Silksong is either an independent studio or not. I've seen people arguing about that. But other creators or developers of the same size, first there was people saying, oh, I don't know if they should be charging $20 because that means now anybody else who's making a game like this has to charge $20. And there was a lot of back and forth on that. And then it became that the most recent one I've just seen now is, well, they shouldn't have just suddenly dropped the game and released it because that was inconsiderate to other people who were considering releasing their games at the same time. And I've looked at all this, and like I said, I don't care if Silksong is a great game or a terrible game. I don't care if it sells great or sells badly. I have no dog in this hunt, zero interest in any of it because I don't care about these games, right? So I just want to be clear. I'm not some super fan of these Silksong games. I think they're some kind of platformer. I don't even really know what they are. I remember when Hollow Knight came out, it was popular. And I remember looking at it, and I just didn't, the art style didn't really connect for me. That's all. And from what I had read, it was a pretty challenging platformer, and that's just not of interest to me. So the combination of an art style that I didn't really care for, along with the fact that it sounded like it was probably a pretty challenging game, and I'm not that good at those type of games. I'll freely admit it's not because I just don't like it. I'll admit I'm not good at them. So I just didn't care. I didn't have any ill will towards the game. I just knew that it wasn't the type of game I was going to play. Okay? So when this game came out, again, I was completely and utterly disinterested because I knew it was a sequel to the other game that I didn't care about. So why would I care about this one? But the more I see people complaining about this, and honestly, I'm fairly shocked by it, to be honest, because I guess I shouldn't be. Any really popular thing is going to have people coming for it right away. I've been accused of doing that myself, even though I don't think that's really accurate. That if something's popular, I'm automatically biased against it. Which would not explain why I'm defending Silksong, which does not need my defense. But I've seen prominent people who, otherwise I have a lot of respect for their opinions, that are sort of softball agreeing with some of these opinions. And I'm really baffled by it. I am sincerely just mystified at what people are complaining about. Because, there was another developer, I don't know even what the size is, saying, well, they really harmed us by just dropping this out of nowhere. It was a very callous thing to do. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't know what planet these people live on sometimes. Because why would this company owe you anything? Now, I know that somebody's going to say, well, it would be nice if all these smaller developers kind of helped each other out because, there's these bigger developers who are just going to, steamroll everybody. And if they were to work together, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, ideally, sure. I don't disagree. I would love to see more cooperation among people in general. But the way this thing is being positioned, I mean, I don't know anybody who works for the company. I haven't read anything about it. I honestly, I have so little interest in this, except that I'm fascinated by how wrong-headed some of these reactions feel to me. Because I don't know why they just did this release. I have no idea. Now, everybody's saying that this is a really rich company. They were printing money off of Hollow Knight. That's the reason why they were able to do the $20 release price. But that's bad because now it puts other people into the bind where they feel like they have to match that price, which is probably one of the most laughably empty things I've ever heard. No one has to price anything anyway. That goes for Silksong, it goes for anybody else. If you make a good game, then price it where you think it should be. You know what your time is worth. You know the value of your time, and you know what your game should cost. Price it that way. The reality is, just pricing it cheap to sell it if you're going to be at a loss is not going to actually help you. And it also would reflect that you don't maybe think that your product should be worth more. So you price it whatever you think you should price it. No other game, unless it's literally the same game, is comparable to your game. In the same way that my artwork, I almost made this same mistake. Almost did the same thing. When I did the Magic cards, and I was trying to figure out what to price my artist proofs at, I thought, well, I'm not as established as the other people, so I should be really cheap because other people can command better prices. And a couple of the artists in the community, as well as other people who were clearly far smarter than I was, said, no, you don't do that. You price it the same as everybody else. Your art is worth the same. You spent the time on it. You made artwork that you're proud of. You represent that through what you're charging for it. That's it. Who cares whether somebody else did it for 20 years longer? Then let those people charge 4 times what most other people charge and see if anybody pays it, because they probably won't. And so I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm going to listen to these people. And they were right. They were right. Nobody complained about the price. I have not had anybody complain about the pricing for my proofs. No one. Some people have said, okay, well, I can't afford to spend that right now, but I want it later. And I've said, that's fine. I'll hold them aside for you. And I've done that because I don't have any issue doing that. But nobody has said, oh man, you're charging too much. You're too new of an artist. You haven't done enough. You shouldn't be able to charge that much. Not a single person. No one. No one. And they shouldn't, because it really doesn't matter. In terms of if the artwork is good, then it's good. It doesn't matter how long or how long you've been an artist doing it, or, comparing yourself to anybody else is pointless. Hold on, I gotta take a drink of water. I'm 98% past COVID, but there's these little moments where my throat will just suddenly get dry. And I know that's a holdover from it, but otherwise I feel fine. But this Silksong thing just is so weird to me, because it's a lot of the people making these arguments are the people who complain. I see complaining about the fact that independent games get, overshadowed by bigger games and all this other stuff. And they're all big on independent game development. And here's an independent game, as far as I understand. This is the way it's been defined that I've seen it. This is a smaller group of people who have made this really popular game that people like. And now everybody's going after them. And it's bizarre. They should be reveling in that success. Other developers should take advantage of it. But no, of course, what they're doing is they're going after them. I'm just mystified. Honestly. Like I said, I don't personally care about this game whatsoever. I have zero interest in it. Will not be playing it. Don't care. Not my type of game. But I look at the way that people are reacting to it, and I am baffled by it. Because what this should absolutely be... Oh, sorry about yawning. I've been doing so well at it, too. What this should absolutely be, even if it's only a public facade and they're secretly kind of irritated in the background, is people should be rallying behind this as an example of, hey, you don't have to be spending $80 on a game to have a really great time and a successful launch. That's what they should be doing. And instead, it's just like it's like people are just picking fights with different things. Like I said, first it was the price. Now it's how it was released. And was there enough consideration for other games coming out? As if there wasn't a 85 to 90% chance that a game would get delayed anyway. So, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? They expect these people to just sit around and wait until nobody's doing anything and then hope that, somebody else doesn't get the jump on that. It's just crazy. This is crazy stuff. That people are so upset about this and just coming up with these, frankly, laughably stupid things to be upset about. I mean, I know people just like to manufacture things to be angry about, but wow. I mean, this is astonishing to me. Astonishing. And again, to go back to this idea of, well, releasing it harms other studios. Not if your game is good. I'm sorry, but no, it doesn't. If your game is a good game, look, oh, here, perfect example, right? I'm still playing Death Stranding 2, a Kojima game, Hideo Kojima game, right? I've got 120 plus hours into it at this point. I still picked up Metal Gear Delta, I guess it would be called. Yeah. I still picked up Metal Gear Delta. I don't, it didn't stop me because I was playing one game that I liked. Oh, sorry. Ah, it's terrible. It didn't stop me from spending that money because I still know I want to play that other game. Even though I'm probably not going to play it for a while, I still bought it because I knew I wanted to play it. By the logic of what other people are saying, I wouldn't have bought it because the other game was out already. Because Death Stranding 2 was out and I'm playing it. It's weird that I bought Delta because I shouldn't have, because a better game, well, better is subjective, of course, but another similar type of game was out. And I know people are going to say, well, they're not similar. Well, yeah, they are. Death Stranding 2 is more similar to Metal Gear Solid 5 than the first one was. And of course, all of them are similar in terms of their overall gameplay style and everything else. Yes, I know it's not identical, but you know the point I'm trying to make. Don't be cute with me. But that's what I'm saying. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense. And again, it's just people within the same industry tearing each other down. For what? For what? Because they released their game when they wanted to release their game? I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand this mentality. I truly do not. And like I said, I've seen some fairly prominent voices within the video games kind of reporting and industry that seem to be agreeing with this, attributing it with almost like that it was personal or something. Which I'm thinking, where are you getting this from? Where is this coming from? This is strange to me. Very strange to me. Outside of the whole basic thing that when something is popular, there's always going to be a bunch of people who want to tear it apart. And that's what it really feels like to me, is that these people are upset that this thing came along and is really popular. And that is not a good enough reason to tear something apart to me. Just is not. It's one of the reasons why when I talked about, and I don't expect anybody who's going to watch this to necessarily follow the main podcast or anything, but when I reviewed Superman 2025, which has been generally pretty popular, I didn't care for it, but I certainly didn't say, and I hope it fails. You know, it did not grab me. But I'm still glad it's successful because it's a positive Superman. I made that point very deliberately, that even though this movie was not for me and I didn't end up caring for it all that much, that I'm very happy it's successful because it's a positive representation of Superman. And that, I think, is the more important point. So again, to go back to this, I don't understand these people who just seem to want to tear down something successful that they should instead be celebrating. That this game came out and overshadowed much bigger games by giant publishers who were happy to charge 4, 5, 6, 7 times as much, especially if you throw in limited editions, DLCs, and all the rest of the garbage they shovel at us now. This game did none of that. Oh, I think I might have to sneeze. Let me mute myself really quick. Oh, boy. Oh, I'm glad I muted the mic and I covered it just in case I didn't. I never am sure if I mute it correctly, but I think I did. Anyway, yeah, it's just like I said. I've seen this today, and I am mystified by it. I really am. Outside of the kind of simple, basic, well, it's popular, therefore we have to have some reason to not to like it. Okay. Well then, I guess be miserable about it. What are you going to do? I hope that the people who made the game just don't even pay attention to it. Let these people be angry and stew in their bile for whatever reason. But I just find that to be a mystifying reaction, I suppose. So, anyhow, other than that, I have nothing to be upset about because, as I said, I'm past the worst of COVID now. That was not fun. But what are you going to do? It happens. Unfortunately, as careful as I am, and I am very careful, I still wear my mask almost everywhere. I mean, I really do. I stay on top of my shots and everything. However, when it gets close enough to where your wife gets it, you're pretty much going to get it. Not much you can do about it when people within the household get it. Even, my wife had said, "Oh, do you want me to isolate?" And I said, "Don't bother. Don't bother, because it's not going to matter," which it didn't. It wouldn't have, because it's in the air. And the reality is, unless we were going to be able to have different air, I was going to get it no matter what. And honestly, I really only had, in truth, maybe 24 bad hours. It was basically from I would say the middle of Tuesday to the middle of Wednesday was when it was the worst, where I really just had no energy. Never had a headache. I'm very happy. I have not, the 2 times I've had COVID, I've been very fortunate that I have not gotten the really bad headache, because I think that would put me down hard. I am not good with headaches. So I've been very fortunate. Whoa. Oh, look at this. We've got an idiot in the chat here. Cheap followers on streamboo.com. Ooh, baby. Let's go ahead and ban that individual. I apologize for anybody who saw that. Doesn't this person realize, whatever this bot, it's probably a bot. If it was a person, boy oh boy, are they targeting the wrong person? Because the chances that I would be at all interested in that are 0. Anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? Wow, what was I saying before that distracted me? So yeah, I really only had 24 bad hours. No headache. Really just was very tired the one day, which is, to some degree, the worst thing, is when you just have no energy and you can't really move. And you know that there's really nothing wrong with you, and yet you just can't move too much. Not that I literally couldn't move, but every movement was a massive effort. That one always bugs me. That's the one I usually get when I'm sick. And that's what I got this time. But honestly, it was largely fine. It was not anything, but it is going around, because I have family members who are nurses and EMTs, and they are seeing more of it. So unfortunately, it does appear that it is going around. And I think last week there were a lot of people at my job who were out too. I don't know if they were all COVID, but it is going around. So be careful, everybody. No matter when you're hearing this, just, be careful. Be careful. Being sick in general just isn't fun. COVID is definitely even less fun than usual. Not great. And it did something to my taste. I didn't lose taste. Oof, that's a terrible one. I didn't lose the ability to taste, but I definitely noticed that my sense of taste altered for about 2 days, where things just tasted weird to me. Not bad. I was still eating. I never lost my appetite or anything like that. That was actually really good. Never had an appetite problem. But things definitely, the flavor on things was off. It was like lesser. Probably is the best way to describe it. So there definitely was some kind of impact from that. But again, didn't lose my taste. Came back. So I really can't complain too much. But yeah, I'm pretty much back to normal now. And I did my last stream. It was just starting to get rolling. I didn't even know I had it yet when I did the last stream. But if you heard my last one, yeah, you could tell my brain was fogging up. I definitely had a couple days where I was spacey. I mean, I don't think I ever actually had the brain fog thing that some people have had. I know some people who got that really badly, and it's no joke. I mean, just the inability to concentrate on anything. I don't think I ever got that bad, but I definitely got loopy, which was more pathetically funny than it was debilitating in any way. Again, I really feel like I got lucky on this, because I only had the one. I mean, it was over the course of 2 days, but realistically, the weird part was on, was it Wednesday? I want to say it was Wednesday. Was on, maybe it was Thursday, whatever day it was. There was a point where I was feeling really bad in the first half of the day, and then around 1:30, it just suddenly all turned around. I suddenly felt a lot better. It was so odd because it came out of nowhere, where I was literally considering whether I should take, there's something on my screen. Let me wipe this off really quick. I was considering whether I should take a Dayquil or not, because I took it a couple times, but Dayquil doesn't seem to do much for me. NyQuil worked. NyQuil helped me sleep, so that was good. But I was considering it. I was like, oh, should I take Dayquil? And I was kind of going back and forth on it, and then suddenly I just started feeling better. It was so weird. I don't know if it's, if the shot, the booster kicked in somehow, revved up and did its work or what, because it was just so out of nowhere. I just felt so much better. I'm not complaining about that, by the way. That was great. Talk about, surprise things that work out. That was great. But I really don't know why, because it's not like I'd done anything to stimulate better healing or something. I didn't have magic crystals or anything hanging around. I just suddenly felt better. So, yeah. Which I was very happy about. I'm all for that. But like I said, overall, really only one bad day. So not the worst thing in the world. That is not me saying that you shouldn't care about getting COVID. I would say the exact opposite. I think I was fortunate because I've stayed on top of my shots and my boosters, so I wonder if it would have been a lot worse if I hadn't. So I am absolutely not trying to make this sound like COVID is no big deal. I am not one of those people, and I do not believe that. I think it's a disease that, unfortunately, there is no real prediction for. It might hit you really hard. It might not. If you're lucky, it does not. If you're unlucky, it does. And I sure don't roll those dice casually. But like I said, once my wife had it, I knew it was only a matter of time. And then I still, because I tested positive on Tuesday morning, or was it Monday? God, I can't even remember now. Whatever day, even when I was past the point of, and I don't even know if people really know what the contagious point is now with the new variant or whatever. I still haven't gone near anybody I work with. I've stayed in another building where I can work away from everybody, and I don't even want to take a risk. I don't want to endanger the health of anybody I work with, because the reality is I have no idea what their medical situations are. I don't know if any of them are immunocompromised. I don't know if any of them have family members that are. I know one person who does, for sure, that has a immunocompromised family member, and I'm not messing around with that. I'm just not going to mess with it. I think way too many people are way too casual with the health of other people, and I am not going to be one of those people. Will not be one of those people. So I have not messed around with that. But yeah, like I said, in the overalls, I feel like I was very lucky that it was not worse. I think I caught a break there. I mean, it would have been nicer if it had happened 2 weeks after I got my booster, because then that probably would have kicked in a lot faster, and I might not have noticed it much at all. But like the flu last year, I did get my flu shot for this year too. I got it at the same time I got the COVID booster. So, and maybe the combination of all that stuff in my system and COVID is really what knocked me for a loop. So maybe it wasn't as much really COVID as it was the presence of all these things making my immune system go insane. Whatever the case, I feel much better now. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. But I would tell you, if you have the ability to get the booster, think about it. Unfortunately, in this country, that's a lot harder. I actually had to tell the pharmacist that I was high risk, which I think technically, depending on how you look at it, I probably am to some degree, because I had very acute bronchitis when I was younger. And like a fool, I didn't get it treated for way too long, till I basically almost couldn't breathe. So that was stupid. So for all I know, I do have, like less lung capacity due to that than I should. I actually don't know whether that's true or not. That's what I said when I went to get my shot. Whether it's true or not, I can't really speak to, but it wouldn't shock me exactly. So, yep. So we're doing pretty good here, actually. Where are we at time-wise? 31 minutes. Well, I think it's time for a drink of water. God, I feel like I'm actually flying along this time. All right. Maybe it's because I actually got started. What do you call it? I was able to get the stream going, and it didn't take me 20 minutes just to get it all working correctly. Maybe that's helping. Could be. I would not be shocked. Exactly. Let's have this come straight down like this. And that there. And I am going to, I think I said this in the last, I don't remember what I said in the last stream. In the what I will now call the COVID stream, because I clearly was sick and just didn't really understand how much. But I am going to actually take Heroes Forever's advice and not do this all manually. The interesting part. Huh. Yeah. Well, doesn't matter. Sorry, I was just thinking about that spammer who showed up that I didn't see them on the list, but I guess they probably just shoot the thing in really quick and then jet out, so that's probably why I didn't see them in the participants list. I also don't know how quick that list is updated, because it's OBS, so I'm sure it's tapping into something and it probably doesn't have as quick a response as if I was in Twitch proper, you know what I mean? So, I watched a great video, so I will promote it as much as I can possibly promote anything here. But yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Accidentally. Okay. I watched a fantastic video by an individual named Daniel Ibbotson, whose screen name is DJ Slope. He did a complete history of a video game series called Elevator Action, of which there were more games than I even realized there were, over on his channel Slope's Game Room. I would highly recommend it, because I am a huge Elevator Action fan. So I was thrilled when I saw him upload that. And it was a very entertaining video. But like I said, I actually talked about some ports I didn't even know existed. But I remember playing that Nintendo game so much. And then I did play, I have to go back to it and play more of the arcade sequel that came out, because it's such a departure, but it's really good. It's much more of a kind of what you would standard action game compared to what the first game was. But I say that I like both of the games. I like the original, is kind of almost like a relaxing game, even though it really isn't relaxing at all, because you're constantly trying not to get shot. So it's really not a relaxing game, and yet I'm so comforted by it, I think, because I played it for so long that I don't really care. And I kind of know the mechanics fairly well. I'm not an expert at the game or anything like that, but I have fun with it. I like to just play that occasionally here and there, and don't really worry about how well or badly I'm doing. It's just a fun game. So yeah, like I said, I would recommend that video, whether you're an Elevator Action fan or not. And depending on how young you are, you may have no idea what game I'm talking about. Because I'm aware at this point that virtually everything I grew up with at this point is ancient history. I mean, even the original Nintendo, I imagine most younger people don't even know what that is. They might know that there are games from it on the Switch store. Or what do they call that? What do they call the Switches? Oh, they have a name for all the old stuff. What is it called? What do they call that thing? Hold on a minute. Let me look. Let me zoom out here so you can see all this. What do they call that thing? Let me look. It's not the eShop. It is... What is it? Let me see here. Switch.
You got a message.
Oh, let's... let me see. Switch... Switch NES games. Hold on. It's called something. It is called a Nintendo Switch Online, and then inside of there are the older systems. Yeah, that's what it is. So in there, I don't know if jeez, I'm not going to respond to this. In the middle of streaming, I'm not going to be texting during it. Let me see. Yeah, got it. Okay. In any event, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't know if elevator action is in that collection yet. I'll have to look. I'm curious. But I mean, I have it on my Ambernick my Ambernick R40X. Oh, sorry. My Ambernick Roger 40 X-Ray Victor handheld, and it's a riot. It's a blast. But I realized I hadn't put the arcade game, the sequel, Elevator Action Returns and/or Elevator Action 2. I had not put those on there, so I do need to do that so that I can play that, because those are fun. But I do enjoy those. The older game is almost a meditative game, because it's very much the same game over and over and over and over. It's just you go down, you start at the top of a building. I don't think that ever changes. And you work your way down, getting these. You have to go to these red doors, and you go in the red doors, and you come out with a file folder, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the whole game, and you just have to make it to the bottom, and that's really it. I mean, that's really what it is. Okay, I'm just gonna look at something here. I'm just looking at something while I'm thinking about it very quickly. Okay. Yeah, so really there was only the first 2 games, honestly. And then there were lots of ports. And that's really it. That's as much as there is to it. So, yeah, I was kind of curious about that. But really, there were only the 2 games. And then, like I said, ports and remakes and revamps and kind of modernizations, that kind of thing. But they're very easy, especially the first one is a very easy game to play. You just jump into it, and you will figure it out in no time. There's only really 2 buttons. One fires your pistol, and the other does a kind of jump kick. That's it. And there's no other weapons. So you're always just going to have the same handgun. And that's it. You don't get power-ups. It's very simple. For some people, it might be too simple, but I think the simplicity, very much like, say, Tetris or, something like, what's the other game? What's that game everybody knows? I mean, like a Candy Crush type game where you're just doing matching stuff. It's very similar to that, where it's like, oh, okay, you really don't have to... You do not have to have some high level of video game knowledge or even a low level of it. It's so simple. It's a video game I could literally my mom could figure out how to play. My mom's never played any video games in her life, and I could have her playing it within 20 minutes. And I doubt it would even take that long, because it is such a simple game. Now, she wouldn't want to play it. She doesn't care about video games, but I'm saying that the gameplay is so easy to pick up and figure out It does get hard. You will get to a point where those agents, the enemies, they are popping out of doors and firing so quickly at you that you have to react fast. That's where the challenge comes from. But it absolutely has nothing in terms of its gameplay that should be intimidating to anybody. And that's why I think it's held up so well, is because you really just look at it and understand it so quickly and easily. And it's a fun game. I think it's a fun game. But then I also think Jaws on the Nintendo was a fun game, and most people think that's one of the worst games. Well, among the worst kind of high-profile games the system ever had. And I find it delightful in its kind of low degree of jankiness. The dog keeps getting up like she's hearing something. I don't know what she's hearing. What are you hearing? Hold on. I'm just going to get up and make sure there's nothing, because she keeps getting up. Let me just look and make sure there's nothing to worry about. What are you hearing? I don't hear anything. I'm just taking you guys with me, because I don't think there's anything that she's actually hearing. But I'm just going to look. No, I don't know what she's... No, there's nothing out there. There is nothing out there. I don't know what she's hearing. Okay, just want to check. Maggie, nothing's out there. I don't know what you hear. Just kept getting up, so I was just making sure that there wasn't like a truck or something in front of the house. There's nothing there, baby. I don't know what you're looking at or what you're hearing. All you'd be hearing is traffic, and it's not like there's even a lot of that. I mean, we're on a semi-busy street, so there are cars going by, but it's not even like there's a tremendous amount of cars going by right now, so I don't know what she's hearing. But she does tend to pick up on odd things, so for all I know, there was a car making a noise with a loose belt or something that went by. Who knows? Who knows? Dogs can be very strange animals. Wonderful animals, but at times very strange. So I don't know what she was hearing. There's nothing there. So yeah, elevator action. Good game. Good game, and I was very happy to see that Daniel did a complete history on it, because his complete history videos are very fun. This one I think was about 20 minutes long, so very, very, very easy breezy kind of time to get through. Not a tremendous time sink. I don't mind videos that run long. I like them too, but I also appreciate that there's a place for videos that do not have to overstay their welcome. And I think he did a excellent job covering the series, and in a nice short. A nice succinct video. I shouldn't say short. And I enjoyed it. So, like I said, if you have any, I mean, he's done a lot of complete history, so he's done a lot of them. His Castlevania one is fantastic. What's some of the other ones? I mean, he's done a bunch. Castlevania one is so thorough. Until there's a new Castlevania game, of course, but that's the case with anything like that. So if there's a new one, you have to go back and redo it. He did Paperboy, I know that. He did a Paperboy one, which I watched, even though I'm really not much of a Paperboy fan. I remember the game being around. I remember playing it in the arcade with the handlebars and everything, but I never really caught for me the way it did for some people. Daniel was a big fan of it, I think. If I remember from his video, he liked it quite a bit. It was very popular, I know that. I think a lot of that comes from the handlebar controller, though, to be honest. But, video games are like any other art form in that there's ones that people respond to and ones that people don't. That's what's great about it, is there's something on my screen again. I can see it. I can see it now. I think I missed it before because I couldn't really see it. Got it. It's gone. This is still moving. Yes. Okay. I don't really know why I still have this orange. Oh, I do, because I have to have reference when I do the inner and outer rinds. I just want to have it there so I can judge that a little bit better. But I mean, I'm not really using it as not really much of a basis for this anymore. I never could get it to quite look the way that does, but this is fine. I don't mind the way this is looking. Right, it's getting where I need it to go. It shall arrive where it needs to be. Sometimes that's just the way these things go. And that's not a bad thing. There is a value in accepting that sometimes things change as they move along. And you might end up with something better in the long run. It's a very common occurrence with artwork. I talked about this before, so this is nothing new to this channel. Is the Bob Ross concept of no mistakes, just happy accidents. I don't know if they're always happy, but I do think there is definitely something to the idea that you have to kind of just go with what's happening and let things form the way they're forming. Oh, it's over here. You know, that's not a bad way to approach things. Sometimes in life they say you have to roll with the punches. Same idea. Just let the artwork kind of go where it's going. And as long as you're not unhappy with what's happening, that is one thing I have learned not to. I'm not always the happiest with how things are going, but unless I'm actively unhappy with how they're going, I don't worry about it. I was not always that zen about things. There were points where if something wasn't what I exactly wanted it to be, I would just stop working on it. I don't do that anymore. At this point now, I am much more in the camp of, hey, just go with it and see where it goes. Because sometimes weird things that don't seem like they're what you want can end up being weirdly positive. It can turn out much better than you expect. And if you're only gonna worry about, if you're going to demand from yourself that you do exactly what was in your head all the time, I'm not going to say you can't do that. Some people can. But for most people, that's going to be a really frustrating experience, and it's not going to be a lot of fun. And creativity and art, all this stuff should be fun. It should be. Unless you're being paid by somebody and you thrive on the pressure of being under the gun, that's a different thing. Some people do. Some people actually work much better when they're under pressure than when they're not. So if that's you, then you can go ahead and disregard everything I'm saying. Which you likely were anyway, because you probably figured out that's where I was going. And we're like, nope, not my case, buddy. Perfectly okay. Not everybody has, well, not everybody. Almost nobody agrees with what I think. So ultimately, whatever it is that lets you create what you want to create, that's the thing you got to follow. In the end, that whatever that method is the right method for you. But I think a lot of people get caught up in the idea that they have to make something that's quote unquote perfect. It has to be to some standard which nobody's holding them to except themselves. And standards are good. You should strive to do as good a version of whatever you're trying to do as possible, but you shouldn't be shackled by it. You shouldn't turn your back on something potentially good because it's not all the way to whatever those standards are. Because standards can work both ways. Standards can be really good because they can drive you to do something better, but they can also be a hindrance if they stop you from doing anything. Because I know people who will just get paralyzed by what they're looking at and what they're trying to work on. They just stop. And I don't think that's good. I think you should keep going. Unless, like I said, there's some specific reason. But it's usually not. It's usually not for a specific reason. It's just that people kind of get locked in that if something doesn't look exactly right, even if they don't really need it to look exactly right, I think that's the other thing. And there should be a degree of playing around. There should be stuff where you sit there and think, okay, well, let me just see where this goes. Because you really don't know. And I'll freely admit, for me, I don't do a ton of experimentation in my drawings. I usually have a rough idea of where I'm going, but like this one, I could never make it look like that. And at a certain point, I decided that I wasn't going to keep trying anymore. I was just going to go with what it was looking like because I think it's still going to look fine. It'll look different. It will look different than what was in my head. But it won't look bad compared to what was in my head, and that's the vital difference. For me, in this case, was, okay, this isn't going to look awful compared to what I thought. It's just going to look different than what I thought. And I'm okay with that. That's an acceptable place to be. So, by all means, strive to do the best version of the work that you want to do. But also understand that you can do something that is different than that. And it's not necessarily, in being different than what was in your head, it does not automatically make it lesser. That's the mistake I think some people make. So what I'm going to do, where are we at? We're at 50 minutes. All right, I'm going to finish this one little bit of this. And I think I'm going to bring the stream to a close because even though, as I said, I'm feeling a lot better, my nose is really starting to run. That's one thing I have had at night. My nose will start to run. And while that's not a huge deal, the only way I can really stop it from becoming extremely annoying is to keep blowing my nose on the stream, which I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to do. So I'm actually kind of happy I was able to get 50 minutes because I think my last one was 30-something. Because, again, I didn't really realize it at the time, but I was getting sick. So it's kind of amazing I made it that far in there. But I think you could kind of tell that I wasn't all there. If you go back and listen to that one, it's probably pretty funny, actually. All right, so we'll finish this off. We'll round that around to there. Now we're close now. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. Definitely getting there. All right, let's pop up our Be Right Back screen. There it is. And let me just disconnect this. Yep, disconnect that. And that should come off. Yep, that's fine. Okay. So, as I always say at the end of these streams, go find a creator that you appreciate and do a little something to help them out. That does not mean that it has to be based in money. You do not always have to do something monetary to help somebody out. Just sending somebody a nice note, resharing their work, just pointing somebody at their work, dropping them a very simple, does not have to be long, a simple note saying, hey, this work brightened my day. I really like what you do. If you can afford to buy an album or to buy a print or to donate a little bit of money here and there, that's certainly great if you can do it. But that should not be the automatic mode of support. I think a lot of times it is. I think a lot of people feel like the only way that support matters is if there's a dollar attached to it. And that's just not true. There are lots of people that might be just struggling with making the art in general. And yes, money would be nice, but it would also be as much, if not more powerful for them to hear somebody say, hey, I like what you're doing. So whatever you can do, take a few minutes and do it. It's worth doing because it probably will mean far more to the person than you realize it will. And that's an amazing thing we all have, is to be able to positively influence others. So if you can, take a few minutes and go support an artist of some kind. I'm not talking about me. I'm doing fine. Outside of my runny nose, I'm doing fine. And even with the runny nose, I'm doing fine. So I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about go find somebody else, somebody who needs that support, and take the time to give it to them. On that note, thank you for being here. I should be back to my normal streaming setup at this point. I think I am through the worst of it. I really hope so at this point. So until next time, like I said, go find a creator, support him somehow. Go do something creative, have fun with it. Don't worry about it. Just have a good time doing it. And once again, I appreciate you being here, whether you're watching live or later. Doesn't make any difference to me. I thank you for coming by in whatever capacity you have. And until next time, thanks for being here and take care.